What's up, everybody? Happy Friday. It is good to see everybody, talk to everybody, hear everybody. We have a lot to talk about. I got Coy and Winston here today. There's no rewatch today. We're just going to talk about the things going on in the news. We're going to talk about that Ms. Marvel trailer. We're going to talk about the fact that Moon Knight's coming up right around the corner, and we're going to talk about what we hope to see, what we expect to see. These guys will fill me in a little bit on the Moon Knight lore because I know nothing. Jon Snow, I know nothing. So we have a lot to talk about today, and we'll talk about some of the other news and ideas, and we'll probably contemplate what the hell we're going to do for our rewatch on the next one. There's tons. So if you haven't subscribed, please do that. Go hit that like button, hit the notification button, do all of it. It's very, 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 very important, and that's a different show. All right. So it is myself, it is Mr. Coy Jandrew, or as Flasso say, Jandrew, and Winston A. Marshall. It is the big thing. Let's do it. Shoes and beef and shoes and beef and beef and shoes. What's up, everybody? Why in the world did we wait so long to do a show like this without a rewatch?
I wish I knew.
So it is time to introduce both Coy, Mr. Jandrew, and Winston A. Marshall, head cut off, and it is then time to do that. What's up, guys? We were supposed to do this last week, but we didn't get a chance to.
Life comes at you fast. It's okay. You know, it's totally fine. I'm just excited to see both of y'all.
It's good to see. It's the first time we've had a gap.
No, I know for sure. We weren't watching a movie. I felt like the pressure was sort of off, especially like starting this job. I am exhausted.
We separately had long, like 4 a.m.ers and then got up for this.
These guys came walking in today, and they saw Winston looks over like he just found gold, and he goes, "Is that coffee machine real? Is that a
and
real?"
We've been here 100 times, and I've never noticed it.
I didn't either. I think it's new, or is it always been there?
It's been there. So that one was in my kitchen for a while, but I brought it in a couple months ago. It was the year when you guys did the Batman rewatch.
Okay.
But now
it's the coffee machine requirement when we need it most.
Yeah, it made it here during the when we were doing our digital shows. But because I got right. I gave you both. I gave you old school. Look at
oh my God, this one's beautiful.
It looks like old school WrestleMania, right?
That's old school, yeah. And then there's that one, old school schmoes.
Look at that.
One.
Look at that beauty.
Yeah, you can't.
That focus.
Right.
There it is.
Focus. That's what I said. No, she said focus. Anyway, there's what movie is that? Who can get focus? That's what we were thinking. She said focus.
Oh, what was that from?
Oh,
I know the
quote.
quote.
I know you do.
Battle Schmoedown. It was Battle Schmoedown.
You're gonna be so embarrassed. You might walk out of here when I tell you what that's from. You might walk out.
Powers. It's not
Focus. She said focus.
No, I don't. It's not coming to me. What do we got?
What kind of fucking Mallrats fan are you? Get out of here.
You're right.
Get right out of here.
I've deserved
Just leave. No, I want you to call. I want you to call Kevin Smith right now,
you know what just
live, and say, "Bro, I fucked up.
I blew it. Yeah, so we got a lot. Listen, let's talk about Moon Knight because it's coming up. It's right around the corner. I'm going to definitely have reviews on this channel a little early. I'm going to release the episode reviews, the non-spoiler first. I'm not going to review for TV. I'm not going to put spoiler reviews out beforehand. Obviously, I want to make sure that once everybody sees it, I'll put it out. But I will say that this show, I'm very much looking forward to this show. The only thing I knew about this show going into it at all was the amount of times that the big man John Schnapp would talk about it all the time, and then Robert Meyer Burnett would talk about it all the time, and they used to tell me how much Schnapp used to tell me how much I would love this comic, and how he was so convinced it should be a movie. And now they have this thing coming out. It's hit waves. But Coy, are you excited for this show? And why should we be excited for it?
Because he's a very different version of the Marvel Universe, and he might singularly be as impactful to the MCU as Guardians of the Galaxy opening Cosmic. He's opening Supernatural. So with Khonshu, who's the god of the moon, who he's the fist of Khonshu is Moon Knight, that unlocks werewolf possibilities, deeper cuts for vampires and Blade, that unlocks all sorts of supernatural elements for Ghost Rider. It really is the Midnight Suns gateway drug for the MCU. So not only is the character himself cool, ramifications are huge, and Oscar Isaac's the perfect man for the job. I'm really excited to see they're twisting the mythology a bit in the comics.
How so?
Mark Spector is the baseline in the comic books, and he's a mercenary who has trouble remembering exactly how things developed, and basically he remembers pieces of his life and it culminates in an Egyptian sacrifice slash.
Is Steven not even a thing?
No, Steven's a thing, but
Okay.
he's a lesser mentality. So it's interesting they're going with Steven. I think the show's going to have Steven be the main thing, and he discovers that he used to be Mark Spector, and he repressed him for the mental safety of not being Moon Knight too much. I think there's a lot of it's a mental health show.
Yeah, it is.
In its own way.
Well, it's like split personalities.
Yeah,
and,
hopefully they handle that well. I'm sure they handle that well. They're smart.
Well, what do you think, Winston? So, did you know anything about it? Are you excited for the show? Tell us.
Yeah, no, I'm super excited about it. I mean, I am not super familiar with like his stories or his villains.
Right.
I'm aware of like the origins. I'm kind of aware of like the things he's able to do and stuff like that. I personally like have been blown away with watching stuff like this. I loved Legion. I'm a huge fan of Diane Guerrero and what she's doing as Kristian.
Is Legion similar to this?
In the sense that you're just dealing with the actor having to pull off the multiple personalities in this kind of sphere, and again, same with Diane Guerrero and Doom Patrol as Crazy Jane. Like she's got to play God knows how many different personalities as well. So knowing how great of an actor Oscar Isaac is, I am that trailer got me super hyped up for what he's able to do.
I also just love that he wears white as a threat. Like, I really enjoy, he wants you to see him coming. So Batman wears all black so he can be the shadows themselves, and Moon Knight is like, nah. So I just love the arrogance of Moon Knight. I really enjoy the fact that, we're getting this street level character that's also going to be a great gateway for Daredevil. Yeah. So I think there's a lot benefit, and I really think that it's the maturation of Marvel a lot of people have wanted. I know we have parental locks now for the Disney Plus shows as of this week, which is genius.
Yeah.
And now we've got a Disney Plus show that will be on the darker side. I think it's going to cause a lot of great things from a boy Deadpool.
I mean, the fact that they put Punisher and Daredevil on Disney Plus.
That's what I'm saying. It's good for Deadpool.
Yeah,
it's good for all of us.
Because you're just talking about how they revived. There was an official announcement.
It's
of
on
Daredevil.
with parental. Yeah, but it's on with parental lock, and I think having a parental lock on Disney Plus is the best thing for Disney Plus.
Yeah, I just switched it over yesterday because when I was looking at I was doing. We'll stay into the Moon Knight conversation, but just to let you guys know, there's somebody reached out to me yesterday or a couple of days ago that they have this new program that you can basically put any of the trailers. When you get demonetized from the studios, and putting that footage in there, and then same thing with like when you can't watch full shows and Netflix shows and Disney Plus shows. This guy was like, "No, listen, this particular program that I have, when you put the stuff in there, the views go to the original source, so they don't demonetize it." So I was like, "Interesting." So I did a test on one of the channels for like a trailer, and it didn't get hit. And I was like, "Okay, interesting." So I'm like, "All right, let me see what he's talking about here with this full." I watched a full episode of Mandalorian, and I put it on private, right? And then I got do it again, and we're gonna take down your channel. I'm done. Nice try, buddy. Nice try with that.
Wow, we tried to napalm your whole channel.
It wasn't take down your whole channel, but more so like, hey, that's a warning because you haven't done anything like that before. Don't do it again. And I was like, okay, so I guess it wasn't going back to Disney Plus, so I'm not doing that again.
Maybe it was like there's a limit. Maybe like you got like a 2
well, then don't say it in your little intro video that you can watch all shows because I'm like, okay, because if I can do that,
he's trying to take out the channel.
Go back to the dude right now. Check out and see if his channel gone, bro.
You want to hear something? You want to hear something funny? His video that he posted, that he had his intro video. He was like, he goes, watch this. His original source from AC/DC and the Thunderstruck, and it played. And he's like, see. You can play it. It's going to the original source. And I'm like, oh, interesting. So I do my thing, and I go back to his video, and now it's muted. He goes, watch. He goes, watch AC/DC, and it's quiet.
What a great anti-advertisement. That's amazing.
Something you could have told me yesterday. Anyway, so I will not be watching full episodes of Moon Knight. I'll tell you that. I'll be doing the reviews, and either way. So listen. Moon Knight, as you were talking about, Winston, like this is it seems like Coy obviously knows a lot about the mythology, and you obviously were familiar with the mythology, but it was never really something you dove deep into, right?
No. This is similar to some of the, like, Moon Knight is like important, but he's fringe enough. Like it reminds me of like if you go to the DC side, like Mr. Miracle or
whatever that means.
I like the weird ones.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? They're like exactly. So Mr. Miracle being part of the whole New Gods and all that kind of stuff. It is a situation where like I had heard of the Eternals, for example,
right.
but knew not a whole lot about them other than the fact that Icarus is supposed to kind of be a Superman, another one of Marvel's Superman archetypes. Yeah. So same thing. Moon Knight gives off vibes of Batman, but if Batman, which we talked about, he lives on the brink between sanity and insanity all the time.
Yeah,
that this is somebody that's actually
he pushed that limit. He's on the other side.
Explore the full multiple personalities and like the full mental health in this thing. So look, this is. I'm glad you brought that up, Winston. When it comes to Eternals and all, and Moon Knight, and I think right now, and before everybody goes nuts, this might be to me the most intriguing and maybe my most favorite phase of Marvel thus far. And I'll tell you why. I love the stuff that they did with Avengers, and I love all the stuff the lead of the familiar, the Iron Man. I love it. But I really like that they're leaning in on characters we don't know, so we're discovering it for like the first time. You know, like so when you turn on like Moon Knight, majority of people, I think, I don't know what the hell his origin story is. I know from what Koya's just told me. I know little from what I know from the trailer, but I'm going in fresh. I know nothing else because you can make Spider-Man 1,000 times over and bring his parents in one point, do not bring his parents. You know the basic gist of it. You know how he was created, how he got bit by the spider, and same thing with Batman. You know the same thing. It's been done so many different times that they have to always mix it. Well, don't show him get his parents being killed this time, but you know it's there. Eternals, like you said, and Moon Knight,
Shang-Chi.
And as a comic fan, it's cool to see the other side. For me to be like, hey, you guys are going to love this crazy thing. And it's cool to be on the, like, here, let me guide you through this world.
Right,
and
that's why I'm glad you're here, so you can tell me the other stuff that I don't know and how it ties into all of it. Like you mentioned, like the stuff, when you say it, it's like it makes sense with Ghost Rider, and then they tease that thing for Blade and Eternals.
But it's like the opposite of gatekeeping. It's like, here, welcome to the cool club. Like, welcome to the weird stuff.
Well, that's why I'm actually really excited as well for Multiverse of Madness.
Right.
Is the idea of hardcore comic fans are going to know a lot of the stuff. Like, they're already aware of, like, the implications of Illuminati and all that kind of stuff coming through. But all the folks that have just been casual, you know what I mean? It's even though Iron Man was kind of like a B-lister prior to the movies, to be honest with you, he was well known enough that people jacked in.
Sure.
You are genuinely going out on a limb here. And so far, you know, you can make the argument one way or the other about Eternals, but like so far they've done it all right. That's
they paid their dues and earned the trust with the well-knowns, right? So by going out with all the well-knowns over the last 12, 13 years or whatever the hell it was, you start to build the trust to where when you they have a formula that I know works, and then they put it out there because in Hulk came out as the second movie and didn't do very well. If Hulk comes out today, it does significantly better than it would have done as the second movie out because people were still kind of hesitant over the Ang Lee movie, right? So now when you start to put these TV shows out, you get more, and the actors that they're getting, and it's also another reason I probably put, I love what they've done with the TV show so far, and I really think already I can tell you that I think Moon Knight's going to shoot up there for me as in my if they nail this the way they think they're going to, it's going to shoot up there as my favorite, one of my favorites, if not my favorite show, because I like the subject matter, I like the actor, I like the idea, and I like that they're going to play a little bit more in darkness.
What's your favorite one right now?
Loki.
Mine too. Yeah. Loki comfortably for me.
You got to remember, I'm a parallel universe, multiverse kind of junkie, right? Like I think about the shit all the time, and even like, my wife was telling me about a dream the other day she had, and I'm like, you're in a parallel universe. You're in that's where you are, and she just ignores me.
I feel like Loki's the only one to truly stick the landing. I liked WandaVision up until it became a Marvel show. Like, I really liked the first 5 episodes. Then they started punching instead of talking the ship of Theseus. And I liked Falcon Winter Soldier until the ending felt like they didn't actually land. Like, I loved where they landed with Sam, but I didn't love where they landed with Winter Soldier because, like, I felt like one of them had to get shortchanged, but it felt like it was like because they both kind of did in a way. Like, we didn't get enough of either because it was both. Yeah. So that really didn't work for me. And then so it's like a B, 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 and then Loki for me is an A.
No,
so
that's
they're all good, but I think Loki's great.
No, because I've been doing my second watch of all of them, just kind of anticipation of Moon Knight, of Multiverse, to just kind of set myself up. And WandaVision still stays up top. Loki is very close after. Yeah, I have found so many like issues now. Like, I appreciate some of the stuff that was talked about. Like again, Carl Lumley scenes. You know, is like another dad for me. killed it. But as far as the show in general, there's a lot of issues that
it was the pandemic problem for that show a lot because they had plot lines they had to cut, they had to rearrange, so I give it a little bit of slack. But there's other stuff that's inherently problem.
No. I totally understand that. And so it's just I was just curious in that regard. Because again, I do think that Moon Knight has that potential to kind of take that throne, like you said, because we're introducing darker tones. You're getting a new character, so instead of the idea previously, as we've been talking about, where like, oh, we're getting extended time with people we already know, by giving us almost what feels like a Mandalorian type release of like this is brand new.
Yeah, it's more of an event.
Go anywhere. It really does feel more of an event. The way that I was like, obviously, I was excited about the Book of Boba Fett, but I'll be real with you. As much as I have loved Boba Fett, not as much as I was kind of anticipating Mandalorian.
Right. Yeah, of course. Look, it's because of the way it's set up, and it's also something that we can dive into a little bit more when we start talking about Ms. Marvel, because what they do with these shows now, and I brought this up on a few different shows, but I'd love to get your thoughts on it for both you guys, is that the benefit that what they can do on the show side of it, right? With movies, you got to really, if you're going to spend $200 million plus on a movie, you've got to make sure that you're, depending, if it's a Pixar movie, then you know you're gearing it towards kids and adults, because the adults are like, oh, I have something to take my kid to. So that's a pure objective of who you're marketing to. When it comes to Marvel and Star Wars and DC, right, you got to say, all right, we're making a movie here that we got to make. Who are we targeting that we want to be able to make our investment back, right? You look at something like the Batman, that's a choice to say, okay, well, it's going to be a 3-hour movie. It is going to be like 7. It's going to be the darkest one we did so far. So we might not be marketing towards the 8 to 10-year-olds. We're going more 15 to 50-year-olds here. And it worked for them. That was a good strategy for them. Now, when it comes to certain Star Wars movies and certain Marvel movies, they got to hit it right in the middle and be able to take the adults. With television shows, though, you can say, okay, look, let's throw out a show like Moon Knight. Let's throw a show. This is a darker show. We're going to do it right around the same time. We're putting people who like Daredevil and all those things, and we're going to try to reel those people in, the people who are the 20 to 50-year-olds, right? And then let's now gear towards the kids, and let's go Ms. Marvel here. Let's put a Ms. Marvel show out, because I don't need you to spend your money at the theater. I don't need you. I'm not going to market towards the 20 to 50-year-olds to get you into the theater. I'm going to market to the kids, because the kids are going to see this trailer and go, hey, I've always wanted Disney Plus, and maybe this is the push over.
It's even more brilliant than that, Kristian, in that Kevin Feige, by Captain Marvel 2 now being changed to The Marvels.
Oh, is that what it is? Is that what happened?
And it's the 3 of them.
So you already went and got Monica Rambeau and WandaVision. So now, honestly, like, you got hella black people like, hell yeah, let's go, Monica.
Right.
And then you're going to get all the kids with Kamala, with doing that. So now you're bringing
and then the $1 billion
that came from the original Captain Marvel. So now all of a sudden you're bringing in all 3 of those audiences, which you've now established, into one film. And you're looking at potentially the Marvels being another $1 billion to $2 billion movie.
I do have a question about that, though. When it comes to, because you always hear BS rumors, right? But whether or not with Brie Larson, that movie, like you just mentioned, made $1 billion. There's rumors that she was difficult to work with. Who knows how true it is? I don't know. Do they turn that into more of a three-person movie as opposed to her own movie because of that?
Everything I've heard, this was always the plan, but it was Captain Marvel 2. It was not the Marvels. They were taking a role in it because obviously Kamala Khan idolizes Carol Danvers.
Right. So which plays into it.
And then Monica being obviously so close with Brie and all that, as far as
it's definitely a long game setup. I don't know how much it's been adjusted, but I also they hired Brie for a reason, and I feel like people. She's great in Endgame. I also just feel like people get mad at women that aren't subservient, certain men and certain audiences.
You're talking about 2 different things, though.
But I'm talking about the public persona of Brie.
But I wasn't.
But I'm saying, like, if you hear one story on set, you want to tell that story to everyone if her public persona is one thing.
Sure.
I'm saying like maybe she had one bad day.
And
if another actress had one bad day. So
or an actor. Look at Christian Bale.
So we're saying the same thing. It's just I think that audience went like, well.
Sure, because you look at Christian Bale, right? And Christian Bale had that one bad day where the audio was kind of taken out, and everyone's like, "Oh, look at this prima donna and everything too." And from everyone else you hear from, he's the most pleasant
Santa Claus
to work with
pure jolliness.
ever. And he said it. I had a bad day, and so maybe you're 100% right. Maybe for that particular day, plus the persona outside of the people who don't like her, kind of spread that out too. Absolutely possible as well. But the question now, but it does also, why not give a second movie? That's the same way you could have said, look at Man of Steel. Man of Steel did well enough to where you should have. I still think they should have done Man of Steel 2 before they jumped into Batman v Superman. I think established it a little bit more. But either way.
I think I also know the other reason why, other than the idea of like you're going to bring in obviously more market share if you've built up these other two heroes, like we just talked about young girls, and you've talked about obviously a lot of black folk that would be into it.
Yeah.
I think part of it as well, part of the reason why, obviously there's been hella Superman movies before,
right?
But one of the big issues that Superman has, that Captain Marvel has, when you're that powerful,
right,
you have to find a way to get people interested.
So it humanizes the three of them by having each of them.
If Carol all of a sudden is like trying to mentor the other two through their powers,
right.
or anything like that, and maybe she's kind of an ass because she's just like, guys, like,
well, she's gonna be like a mom figure to both of them,
right? But she's military. I know obviously Monica has been kind of going like the secret agent route, sort of, and working for Sword and all of that.
Well, doesn't she blame Captain Marvel a little bit for her mom? Isn't that what they set up a little bit in WandaVision? I felt that
that she sort of abandoned her a little bit because that was like her, that was her auntie, you know, Little Trouble and all that kind of stuff. So like it's the fact that you kind of weren't there, and we've been waiting around for you and all that. So there is a certain level of like, there's going to be a little, probably some antagonist type stuff happening between the two of them, but. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the thing. That's why I see why they kind of jumped to Batman v Superman. You were like, hopefully we can find some stakes. Now the main reason is because they were trying to rush getting straight to the Justice League and keeping up with the MCU.
100%.
But
and then they do reverse course, and now they're doing it. They're doing it very well.
Right.
All right. Before we move on, I do want to let you guys know that today, 4 p.m. PST, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, we got Sam Levine coming back out of retirement after being away for 4 years. He gets a #1 contender match against last year's Ultimate Schmoedown finalist. And that's the Barbarian, him and Elvis going up against Sam Levine. So make sure you check that out today. If you've never
blue steel there.
That's right. If you've never checked it out before, it really is. If you've never checked out the Titans, if you've never checked out the Schmoedown, please check it out today.
Glorious.
All right, shut your holes, both of you. All right, listen. The other thing I want to tell you guys also is about NORDVPN. I'm very excited to be working with NORDVPN. I've been telling you guys about NORDVPN and what is NORDVPN. So for those people who don't know. So NORDVPN is great because I always worry about the security of my crew, my friends, my audience. It's important to all of us, right? So one of the main reasons that I've been using NORDVPN is it's fast and it's a secure service. It significantly boosts your online privacy and your security. What NordVPN does, it enables and encrypts my traffic on both the web and mobile, that you don't have to worry about unsecure website or apps that you're using. It's pretty great if you're running around, if you're on the road, especially now that we're doing live events and we're going to the studio shoots, and it's refreshing because I'm not worried about who's doing what on unsecured public Wi-Fi networks. If I have to email somebody, or if I'm managing documents, or if I'm talking to people on social media, I know that my phone and I know that my laptop, it's secure. That's what NordVPN does. It makes it very easy to switch my virtual location. You just do it with one click. Boom, done. You can access streaming stuff that's available in different parts of the country, or Netflix overseas. You just got to go to nordvpn.com/bigthing. Head on over to nordvpn.com/bigthing, and we're very excited to be working with Nord. And so if you didn't know, now you know. And you can grab your exclusive NordVPN deal by going over to and using that code BIGTHING. Get that huge discount off of the NordVPN plan, plus 1 additional month for free and a bonus gift. It's completely risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. But you have to use that code BIGTHING, or once again, use nordvpn.com/bigthing. All right, so switching back to Ms. Marvel, the trailer itself, as I was mentioning, I think that when I looked at it, it gave me vibes of Diary of a Wimpy Kid and all these. It's geared towards anywhere between 10 to 14-year-olds. I showed my daughter last night, and she's like, it's something that I envision in my head. And this is a show that I don't like. if it was me, and I'm not saying this is for everybody, but if this was me and it was a movie, and I'm 23 years old, I don't know if I'm running out to the theater to see it, right? But me, now with my 10-year-old, I'm making popcorn, I'm sitting down, and I'm saying, Vivi, the new episode of Ms. Marvel's gone, let's watch it together. And I'm getting excited because that's that, and it's a TV show that I know that I can, and as you guys were mentioning, I will now be, and she's great. What's the actress's name? Do we know?
She's brand new. Iman, I want to say it's Iman. So I can look.
But she's got great like sarcasm, a lither bit of sass to her,
which is very much the character.
Yeah, and she also but she's got a sweetness to her that you've seen in this trailer. Like when she just like when she's in that alleyway and she just kind of like, I'm a superhero. It's cute. It's
Iman of Vellani.
There's no way you said that right.
Vellani.
Vellani, I think.
Vellani.
Yeah. Okay.
Just with more hesitation.
More hesitation. Yeah. You just got no confidence.
Like, hello, I'm on
Vellani. Right? Imagine you're going to introduce yourself. Hi, I think my name's Kristian.
There's a lot of spaces in the second name.
It's like, Winston, what's your name?
I wish I knew.
And now, his opponent,
Winston,
the Barbarian.
That's right. And Elvis. So, but yeah.
I do like what you're saying because especially after Moon Knight, it does give us the opportunity to expand back towards the Disney Plus audience.
Yeah.
So it's pushing boundaries one way with Moon Knight, and then it's also kind of pushing boundaries younger. It's kind of the youngest skewed show, but it's also a really important show because the comic reminds me of Silver Age Spider-Man a lot. This is a character.
What does that mean? What you're saying? You're saying German.
So it's a character who's very much about a small town that protects her city. It's a character that family's really important to. It's a character that has trouble balancing schoolwork and crushes. It's very that Spider-Man, oh golly, I forgot my blah, blah, blah. Like it's that, but modernized. So it's her dealing with modern problems. And it is a character that I learned more about the Muslim culture from the comic than I have in any other thing because I grew up in America and Americans are very Islamophobic by nature. So it was really cool to learn about a culture that we've not been privy to, that we've not been exposed to. And I think a show showing kids a culture that they don't know and learning that like this is the world of this little girl that's just like you and this is what she believes in is so vital to people of her age. I'm so excited for people to be having that conversation about a comic show.
Yeah, and I think, like you said, you have the what Disney Plus and all these streaming services have done is it give you the option to, if you're subscribed to this thing that you're paying money, they're giving you more and more options of why it's worth your subscription. Yeah. Right. So and it's like same thing. If you don't, I saw some people when I was reviewing the trailer. I don't think I'm going to watch this. It doesn't interest me. Well, guess what? You have a show that you probably can watch. Right. Are you what?
Well, Obi-Wan's playing at the same time. You got. I mean, sorry, it's with the Moon Knight, but you got shows.
You got tons. You got Moon Knight. You got Obi-Wan. You have all these things that are coming out, and I think that what Moon Knight is doing, I'm encouraged and crossing my fingers that Star Wars will follow suit. And what I mean by that is, you look at something like Moon Knight. I'm hoping that the Acolyte will venture into that kind of darker tone because it's all about the dark side and give me some tragedy, man. In Star Wars, there's tons of it, and I want to I want to see it. I think that they toe the line more so in Mandalorian than they did in Boba Fett.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, we're not really talking about Star Wars here. That's the one thing that
this is a big thing here, buddy.
Okay. Look, you got a whole council and shit, bro. So
that's true. It's fair.
But that's the one thing I think that's been missing for me with the more recent Star Wars stories about the dark side. Is yes, the dark side is evil, but like you said, there should be way more tragedy involved.
I think Obi-Wan is going to give you a lot of that, especially with Anakin and Hayden coming back, and I think they will be doing themselves a disservice if they don't do a flashback scene with the two of them. You just got to deep fake just a little bit on Hayden. That's it, just a little bit.
I do think I was right the first time when I said Ms. Marvel's airing the same time as Obi-Wan. That was not Moon Knight. Those are parallel, so it's actually interesting that our adult skewing show is Obi-Wan while simultaneously having a young show. It's the first time we've had them at the same time.
Well, someone said that. Like, why? It's interesting that they're crossing over. Why? It's like Netflix crosses stuff over too all the time, right? But it depends on when it drops, at what point, and like you just said, Coy, there's significantly different audiences for those two particular shows. If there's any shows you're going to stream at the same time, it should be those, right?
And what a gift for us. Like, I'm excited for both. Like, what a great 2 hours to spend.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this show, Ms. Marvel, because I just know I have something now. I'm going to be able to watch with my oldest. We're going to have some fun, and that'll be our show. And then I can watch. Like, I know that I'm probably going to be watching MoonKnight by myself in the office, you know, stoned out of my tits, watching watching it.
Do I hear Khonshu?
Yeah, right. Exactly. That's true. I'm gonna start having. I'm gonna turn myself into Flouse, and that's
We're
gonna
gonna come in, and he's like, "I'm the fist of Khonshu."
Like, right.
Bro, Rewatch got crazy.
Oh, do you know that I want to talk like this? In it. So, but yeah, I'll be. But anyway, that's for me. Right, and then I'm curious to see if my wife likes Oscar Isaac, so I'm wondering, because there's some shows in the Marvel side that she liked, and there's some that she doesn't want to watch. Right, so Loki she couldn't get on board with the science fiction and the time travel stuff, not for her, clearly for me. She loved she didn't watch WandaVision. Right, wasn't for her.
Interesting.
She liked Winter Soldier.
Action
And
she didn't like WandaVision.
No, and she wouldn't watch it. She wouldn't watch the first because of what I was worried about the show when I first saw it. Remember when we talked about it back in the day?
Yeah.
And I will say WandaVision's my second favorite, and very close to Loki. And I actually did like the end of it. I was okay with the fact that they turned it into a Marvel show, because I think that's
you gotta anchor it back.
I felt that's exactly what they needed to do. That's personally, but I liked that kind of Lost. It felt like Lost, you know. And I didn't know what to expect from the trailer. I thought they were going to just make that shtick of the old school sitcom stuff, the whole entire thing, and like, look how clever and quirky this is. And the whole season was going to be like that, and I was like, and there was going to be no reason behind it, and that's what I was worried about, and I was completely wrong. And I tried to convince my wife on that. I'm like, just watch it. I'm like, I was like 4 episodes into it. I'm like, just get through, because I remember watching that first episode, going, I don't know, and then I got to the end when shit starts going crazy at the table, and I'm like, okay, wait a minute, I think I get this show now.
Dude, that I remember talking to you about that, and I don't know, I couldn't remember if we discussed about all the weird internet videos, like the don't hug me, I'm scared, and salad finger, like the weirder part of the internet where you're watching a video and then it takes a dark ass turn,
right,
and you're just like, or like Too Many Cooks, and like where all of a sudden you're like, what the F
how am I here?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that was that same vibe I got. But I also know that that's the thing. For some people, it's hard to jack in. Like, obviously, that's an old version of television that had its heyday, but there's a lot of people that just don't
cause conversation. Like we had, like the WandaVision time was amazing. It was 6 weeks of every nerd like going over theories and having and it was a great way to start.
It was a great way to start.
How better have a Disney Plus launch than have the show that's going to cause the most conversation. They know exactly what they're doing.
No, it was a lot of conversation, and it also said, okay, this and it ties into this new phase, and it also obviously ties into Doctor Strange very much so. Yeah.
But if I remember, wasn't that not supposed to be the opening salvo was supposed to be Captain America?
Yeah, I think it was smart to. I mean, they moved it. Like it wasn't as intentional.
You mean Black Widow?
No, the Falcon Winter Soldier was supposed to be the first show.
Oh, was it? That's
but
right.
it got moved because
I thought it was supposed to be the first everything, and Black Widow was supposed to come after that, if I remember
think so.
correctly.
But what I'm saying is, like, the virus storyline in Falcon Winter Soldier, they had to move some stuff because,
But it worked. It worked out, I think, better so. But
I think WandaVision was a better launch.
But I use my wife as an example because it shows what we're talking about here, and like she is more. We are in this space. You guys are like the comic book. This is your Star Wars, you know.
Yeah.
And so you guys have different ways that you watch these shows, and the comparisons to the stuff with the comics and how it all plays and your fandom of it. She's a casual fan that is watching a television show like she would watch anything else. So for her favorites were both. She liked Falcon Winter Soldier very much, but she loved Hawkeye, and Hawkeye's my least favorite.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Hawkeye's my least favorite. And
I enjoyed it.
Well, I enjoyed it too. It's just my least favorite.
It's your least favorite?
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
There's got to be someone at the bottom.
Yeah, something at the bottom. And it was, I liked it. I had my issues. I had more issues with that one than I had with the others, is why it was in my least. And we were talking about this with, I think, I can't remember who. I don't remember. I think it was Mike and Steph. But we were talking about how there's a lot of shows that used to be in the network TV, you get 22 episodes. That's too much. And then the question is, you know, and then it was Mike, because he said, I don't like when they do 6 episodes. And I said, it depends on the story, right? I think not Falcon and Winter Soldier, Hawkeye was too short from what they did, because from the story.
Easier 8.
They rushed.
Yeah. The story that they set up
was way bigger than it landed, and also
they just threw Kingpin in,
and that felt like it.
And it
for
felt
me,
like
What If is slightly lower only because I didn't connect to about half of it, and I know why it's important. But then Hawkeye's not that much above it, and that's still in the C+.
What was your
range.
last one? What If? Is that what you said?
What If? Yeah, and then right above that's Hawkeye. That's in the CC+ range. The best are B's, and then Loki's the only A for me. But does your wife like supernatural and like weird horror tinge? Okay, so she might not like Moon Knight.
No. Well, no. I think that's different though. Horror and then the psychological thrillers are different. She likes psychological
H.P.
thrillers.
Lovecraftian horror is more psychological horror than like bloody horror.
No,
I
think
the directors of so two of the directors out of the three, they did half. One director did half, and then Justin and Aaron did the other half. They're I think two of the best Lovecraftian horror directors. Period. They did this movie Spring. They've done a bunch of really good stuff. Look up Justin and Aaron, and they are bringing their weird existential horror sensibilities to Moon Knight in a way that I feel like we'll look back on this like Taika, where like Taika was able to make his, and I think putting their stamp on Moon Knight is the best way to introduce Supernatural, and they just got hired for Loki season 2.
Oh, that's cool.
So they're the first director since the Russos that are handling two separate.
That's awesome. I think that she will like this show, honestly, because I think if we get what I think we're going to get from it, inside of what we've seen in the trailers so far, that type of tone, I think it's going to be her cup of tea for sure.
You know, it's interesting, Kristian, because I know you've been talking about with Star Wars for a minute. You're like, I'm done with movies. Just give me shows. You can bring me back movies in like 5 or 10 years.
You getting there with Marvel?
No.
Oh, okay.
But I think the argument about I think the idea of 6 episodes for any of this is kind of stupid and defeats the purpose, because then essentially what you're dealing with at that point,
6-hour movie.
A lot of them are half hours.
A lot of them are half hours.
It depends. I hear Moon Knight's closer to, each episode's closer to like 50 minutes.
But because if I remember, wasn't Hawkeye a half-hour show with one like 45-minute episode?
So it was effectively a movie.
It depends, right? You're right. It depends on the duration and the story itself, because look, let's talk Obi-Wan, right? So Obi-Wan is 6 episodes, but if they're 50 minutes and it's one clear story, although they're now talking potentially about season 2, but if it's just a 1 6-hour movie and it has one clear-cut story, as long as we're not feeling like, okay, look, as long as we're not feeling at the end of it, well, wait, there's so much more to tell. You set all this up. Like Boba Fett did that. Boba Fett was too short.
Boba Fett was 7, so it's not like they're tied to even numbers. Like you could actually do whatever works.
You could have done more there.
Story setup, whatever.
Yes, and Boba Fett though, and I had no problem with it, but I understand the argument of it is that there's 2 episodes that's Mandalorian season 3 basically.
Yeah,
it's not even Boba Fett. There's only like 4 episodes of Boba Fett.
I'm like super curious about the writing process of this, because we're playing with blurred lines right now as far as structure of, well, the movies tied to the TV shows, the TV shows tied to the movies.
Yeah,
almost as if Are you
talking everything? Or are you talking
everything? Star Wars, MCU,
Disney
whatever,
Plus,
Disney Plus, but like all these streaming services, because even like Peacemaker, because you could go to the DC.
Oh yeah,
I will say
the
somebody
upcoming Penguin show.
I will say somebody on Titans today does an homage to Peacemaker.
Yes,
I love it. I cannot wait for
Hope
that.
It's Elvis.
Also, why? also, once the last few members of Swagger announced, I feel like I have to do that intro and bring the whole team out. That might be a way to go. But I say all that to say, as far as the writing process goes, I'm really curious if they are treating it where it's almost like you write a movie, and then once you have the movie out, then they're like, all right, cool, now let's actually flush this out into a show.
Right.
Because sometimes it kind of feels like that. And I know you need to connect the two, but that can get a little sloppy at times, because obviously TV shows have B and C and D storylines, not that movies don't, but in a different way. You got to give a little more weight to those
this is unprecedented. We haven't lived in a time with movies and TV tying this directly together. This is truly one synergistic force of entertainment, and that's more like comics.
Coy, remember when we used to be, when it was, whether you're on Heroes or Movie Talk, or whatever it was, and it was the conversation of how the streaming wars were going to start, and how and all this stuff of like, what's going to happen? How does this change the business? It changed the business significantly.
Oh yeah, we said at the time this was going to be the new frontier, and it is.
Yeah,
like we called the obvious, but we called like this was going to be the conversation for the foreseeable.
Look at Turning Red, right? That's a movie
dude, it was so good.
That's a movie that comes out 4 years ago, there's no even potential. Like, oh, this would come out on TV. No, it never even thought would this come out on TV first, right? Or we're gonna put it on our Disney channel. It's like it would never happen. But because they knew it wasn't because they were trying to bury it. It was because they knew that they could get more eyes on Disney Plus, and because they have other things that they have coming out in the theater. And the theater, though, now, and we've also talked about this, the theater itself is now going to be saved, and I'm talking about for people's dollars, is that people are going to spend their money on movies like The Batman and movies like, then Top Gun and movies like whatever it is, Doctor Strange. That's how, if you're making movies, I know that some people are just trying to get some money back by putting it in theaters. It's going to be harder and harder for those smaller movies to make it. Like that movie Bullet Train that's coming out with Brad Pitt. That movie looks fucking awesome. I think it eats shit at the theater. I think it eats shit. And not because it's not going to be good. I bet you it's great. I just don't think people are going to be spending their money to see that when they're going to be spending the big
I'm worried about
movies.
that rom-com that's coming out with
one's that?
Sandra Bullock and Channing Tatum. I forget the name of it.
Oh,
that one's different.
City?
Yeah, it looks incredible. I'm worried about it in theaters.
I'll tell you why I'm not as much for that one, because here's the difference with that. That's a date movie. That's a date
2
movie.
tickets and
But
popcorn.
That's a date movie. But hold on, real quick. So that's a date movie because not everybody is into the comic book movies, and there are other movies that people want to see in the theaters for dates.
Yeah,
right?
we haven't had a rom-com in a while either.
That's a date movie.
And
Sandra Bullock still
spot.
sells.
It's an empty spot comparatively.
Yes.
No.
And it's
Interesting.
It's why Sisters did so well against Force Awakens.
I'm there with you,
point.
but I guess that's why, just talking about Turning Red, I was disappointed that they didn't release that in theaters, considering how high quality it was.
Yeah.
I think
Soul didn't get released in theaters. Soul's my favorite Pixar movie.
Both of those bummed me out that they didn't get. I understand why. Soul a little bit more because
It's the timing.
But also remember this.
pandemic.
Yes.
Hold it.
Well, remember this.
It was too good.
Soul was full pandemic, but this movie also, there are still, regardless of some people, whatever your.
Oh, I know what you're saying. Yeah,
there's still people like that for younger. Like my youngest watched this, right? She's not gone to the theater yet, right? She's not going yet, but she watched it. And I made this quote for her yesterday because my wife was worried that she wouldn't understand kind of everything that was going on, and she said at one point, my 4-year-old, she goes, "I don't understand what's going on, but I like it."
Dude, I mean, Turning Red might be my favorite Pixar film
Ever.
Yeah,
Wow.
I think the reason why. Is just
You got your period younger?
Hey man, it came fat. I drank a lot of milk. That boy needs some milk. But like, I mean, the reason why is I've noticed stylistically there are a lot of like anime callbacks. So for the anime fan in me, there just stylistically it got me.
Cool.
But then to also see that group of like young friends together like that, to see a different story, which was kind of entertaining to watch in that regard and all of that. And I just felt like they just did a really, really good job with it. And it connected with me in a way more than a lot of other Pixar films.
Right.
And I love Pixar films.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, we can talk about that one on the other side. I do want to also tell you guys, the other thing I wanted to talk to you guys about is MyBookie. MyBookie. And man, it makes me want to go to Vegas. But I'll tell you, MyBookie. If you don't know about MyBookie, I'm about to tell you, the madness has officially begun, and it is time for you to shoot your shot, and you got to score big on the nonstop action you do with MyBookie. It doesn't matter whether you're filling out multiple brackets, betting the national championship winner, or simply looking for players and game props. MyBookie has you covered. Winston's signing up right now. Sign up today at MyBookie and use that promo code BIGTHING, and you'll secure a first deposit bonus up to $1,000. It's simple. Put in $200 and play with $300. Just use that promo code Big thing. And you claim your bonus. It's college ball, it's NBA, and UFC. No matter the sport, no matter the minute, I said UFC and Coy just woke up. MyBookie puts the action in your hands with in-game live betting. And with choice from thousands of lines and odds, you can turn any game day into payday. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere. MyBookie. It's funny, when back in the day, this is like 2005 to around 2008.
Okay.
I met my wife in 2007, but I'll use that time period, 2005 to 2007. That's how I paid my bills, was betting on UFC.
Really?
No way. I didn't know that about you.
Remember this. I was a massive boxing fan.
Okay.
And I got into UFC like hardcore in Right when the first season of The Ultimate Fighter came out.
So this is like Matt Hughes, Phil Baroni era?
Oh, yeah. Well,
GSP
no, not Baroni. Baroni was
like
before
wave
that.
2, right?
Baroni was before that.
Oh,
No,
was he Backyard?
Yeah, so this was the beginning. Baroni came back in, I think, a little later. But no, it was Matt Hughes.
That was before UFC.
No,
he started all this.
Yeah, but he came in to Strike Force later. Okay. So no, the Forrest Griffin and Stephan Bonner was like the big one. But then, but it was Chuck Liddell and Randy Couture were like the two big names at the time, right?
Yeah.
I mean, shit. Tim Sylvia, I think, was the UFC heavyweight champion at the time. But anyway, so watching all that and watching how it all went mainstream. But the thing, I used to bet on boxing, and I went to Vegas and I bet on, I remember it was Jermaine Taylor and Bernard Hopkins, and I bet on Taylor to win the title, and he won it. And I had good instincts when it came to boxing, but boxing was harder to bet on because in boxing, if you bet on the favorite, you get shitty odds, but the favorite usually won. Because there's only one. It's Floyd Mayweather was always a sure bet because he just ran away from people. But he was a phenomenal boxer. But he would never get into scraps, and he was a phenomenal boxer. But you could bet on the same thing with like Bernard Hopkins. You could bet on him most of the time, depending on who they fought, and it's one skill, which is the boxing skill. Right. Not taking anything away, but with UFC. So different, and
so many variables of how, like mixed martial arts, is how does one guy going to compete?
And the odds though, when they gave you the odds in the beginning in 2005, 2007, they were giving you the odds the same way they gave boxing odds. They would give you odds. They would give you odds up top and say, okay, so this guy is the favorite guy. He's the champion. He's the one who's favored more. And I'm like, This guy
fight
is
style totally his favorite.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about because it's closer to like trying to do that with basketball or football, and that when you look at matchups and you go, oh, this person has this and this to the table, so you're like, oh, if they're they're a really great wrestler and they're good at striking, if they can hit them once, get them to the ground and take them out, like know what I mean?
Like, I made a ton of money. The one, and I always had a thing that I would do is I would always bet against a guy who had like a win streak because eventually it was going to end. And the only time that didn't pay out for me was Anderson Silva.
Dude, that guy, the spider winning. And I'm like,
and I kept betting against him because I knew, even on the ones I knew he was going to win, and I'm like, this could be the one. But guess what happened? Guess what happened after? So I stopped betting. 2 fights later, the fucker loses.
Oh, there's money.
Yeah. Kristian, I need to show you something.
Right what's happening?
Because as you're telling this story, I fucking see this. This headshot is the dude that kept betting against
and then Anderson Silva kicked the earring out.
Poor bastard.
Oh, there he is.
It's on my Instagram. It's true.
Oh, that's amazing.
It's true. But
that's also the guy that remembers Phil Baroni coming back. I thought that reference was a very niche.
I know.
The New York Badass, man.
Yeah, but
he looked like Vegeta.
You know where I won my majority of my cash, and I talked about it many times, and it's pretty surreal now. Serra versus GSP.
That is such a fight.
I bet a lot of money on that fight.
Yeah.
And I bet on Serra, and I won a lot of money. And I told Serra that, and Serra Serra heard me talking about that on Collider Live and talked about it on UFC Unfiltered.
Because I'm such a GSP dude, that fight hurt. I love Serra, but I'm such a GSP dude. Betting against him is not something I could do ethically.
I knew it. I knew it, dude. The odds were like Tyson against Buster Douglas.
Such an insane
spread for you. Because the thing was, if you watch that season of The Ultimate Fighter and you look at and just knowing the kind of person that Matt Serra is and that kind of hunger, I mean, that dude was just a dedicated motherfucker, right? And was really, really skilled.
That's your first one.
No, a big thing is fine.
Now I know, but I've been being careful this whole big.
So anyway, so GSP is he wasn't taking Serra serious. You could tell.
Interesting.
He was just taking like a fight and knew it, but he wasn't worried about him.
Perspective at the time.
He wasn't worried about him, and I remember talking to my buddy, my roommate at the time, and I'm like, GSP ain't taking this guy serious, man. I'm like, he's going like. I'm telling you, and my friend had seen me win enough. He's like, you think so? I think he put some money down too, and Serra then knocked him out and beat him. And I was there when he fought Matt Hughes.
Oh, at the fight?
I was at the fight when he fought Matt Hughes because they had a big beef. And I still think Matt Serra won that fight.
Dude, I can't. Oh, that's like the Nixon debate. Like if you're in the room versus on TV, like who actually won the fight?
A lot of people thought that though. When you watch that fight, him versus Hughes, watch that again. Serra won that fight.
All right. I remember the Matt Serra GSP fight and the Matt Serra Hughes fight were two of the first VHSs I bought from Suncoast. I used to have UFC like $30 VHSs.
Serra versus Hughes, it's VHS. That was like 2000.
I was very poor. I didn't get a DVD player until like 2002.
No, dude, Serra versus Matt Hughes was 2007, 2008.
No, was it that late?
Yeah.
I'm thinking of the wrong fight.
Yeah, I went. It was in Vegas.
I'm thinking about
Suncoast. So remember, it
was Suncoast video.
You're thinking You're thinking like BJ Penn.
And Serra wasn't in then.
Hughes fought BJ Penn.
So maybe I'm thinking of a Hughes VHS,
and
not a Serra.
And Hughes beat GSP. He was the first loss. Hughes beat GSP in his first.
I definitely have Hughes wires crossed with a VHS because I remember that dude. He's got this like Captain America chin on my VHS. Yeah, Suncoast was the shit.
Anyway,
it was right next to the DBZs.
And that's what you can get. And now looking at my bookie, I'm not going to lie to you. My wife's like, wait a minute, why is our bank account draining again? I was like, because here's the problem now with that. The problem with me on UFC right now is I would check the websites on UFC every day, and I was looking. I knew every weight class. I knew every champion. I knew everything.
Dude, your memory of it's so impressive. Like I don't remember timelines like that.
Yeah, I don't know shit about it now. I mean, I couldn't tell you because I was there when Rashad Evans lost the championship to Lyoto Machida. I was there when Machida should have lost to Shogun Rua, or did he lose to him?
Dude, you've had the wildest life.
Yeah.
Like, the stories between the stand-up and the Schmoes Know and the WWE and Bachelor and betting on UFC to pay your bills
I'm telling you,
shooting
man.
outside your weight class with your wife. Like,
Danko's going to play him in the movie.
It's not the first time. I'm shooting outside my weight class my entire life. Anyway, all right, look. So let's the other story that I wanted to talk about here. Let's see. I'll take this off and I'll put this on. It's a pretty big story. This MGM and Amazon story. Did you guys hear about this?
No.
All right, here, check this out. So Amazon.
That's two huge ones now.
Amazon has closed its $8.5 billion acquisition of MGM, which was first announced last May. Amazon and MGM have announced the news in a press release this morning, with MGM officially joining Prime Video and Amazon Studios. The storied, nearly century-old studio will complement Prime Video and Amazon Studio work. Together, the teams will provide more quality entertainment options for the viewers. MGM has a catalog of more than 4,000 films, including 17,000 TV episodes, 180 Academy Awards, 100 Emmy Awards, with major franchises including James Bond, The Pink Panther, Rocky, and more. The library is expected to complement Prime Video and Amazon Studios' work. The film catalog includes classics like Basic Instinct, Silence of the Lambs, Poltergeist, Stargate, RoboCop, The Thomas Crown Affair, Raging Bull. That's great movies to list. Thelma and Louise, and more. The completion of the transaction comes days after the deal received clearance from the EU's antitrust regulator. How soon and how much of that back catalog will be added to Prime Video in the coming weeks and months isn't clear yet.
Dude, this is where the streaming war stuff starts to get really interesting, because you have this, and then the other thing that was announced was HBO Max and Discovery Plus now fully merging, because that merger was already happening, and now that becomes one streaming service. And so you're just continuing to see people, essentially, it feels like an arms race now, more so than ever, of all of these different streamers trying to wrangle you in. I'm curious, because obviously when Disney bought Fox and they got Hulu, so you've had that marriage sort of happen, even like as far as that bundle.
Yeah.
So I'm just really curious what the next domino to fall will be, because obviously you still have some of the more fringe streamers in Paramount Plus, Peacock, that are trying to get a foothold compared to Crackle, Tubi. They're trying to. It's funny to compare Paramount Plus and Peacock to Tubi and Crackle, but
Crackle's actually got some good original content. But nobody talks about Crackle. It's like Epix.
Yeah.
Epix actually had some good stuff, and then they had to get acquired.
But they just can't compete.
It's just so much because these monopolies are actually monopolies.
Who do you think will be the king when it's all said and done? Because obviously Netflix still kind of has that title, but between Disney Plus, HBO Max, and now Amazon making a push.
I think they're going to be changing the title. I think in the next 3 or 4 years, I think Disney Plus is going to overtake them, because of their IP power is just too strong.
I think they're different markets, kind of like movies. Sorry to interrupt. I just feel like Netflix is leaning away from trying to be HBO, because HBO's got the best back catalog of adult,
their movies are so good.
HBO Max is Blockbuster. When you want to go to Blockbuster up here, you go to HBO Max. You don't go to Netflix.
HBO Max is fantastic.
So I think that's one market versus Disney's a different market altogether. So I don't know if we'll ever have a clear winner.
I think
you will, in the sense that what is the one streamer that above, like, it's always been Netflix. That's That's the one streamer you have to have. My question is, which one do you think will be, if let's say you only have $15?
Right, I see what you're saying.
What is the one you go for?
But that's why this adult content thing that Disney did for
it's huge.
It's huge, and it's so the silly. I mean, you're always gonna have people complaining about it. The moral police saying how they shouldn't do it because of this and this and that, and then they're tainting their brand, and it's like it's silly.
The brand's got to evolve.
Has to, because when you now can go, because now with the list of movies that they have, because they have the Fox library, then they can start to compete a little bit with
just
HBO
not
Max.
make Alien. Like, you don't just go like, because of our boundaries.
Well,
Right.
But also from the standpoint, remember, yes, kids are a massive market and they get their parents to buy, but the parents are
They
the
need
one
some
with
stuff
the
to
money.
watch. Well,
Like,
because, no, here's the perfect example of that, right? Because so my wife and I, when our kids go to sleep, so during the day, you're going to see Disney Plus firing through that television all day.
Right.
At nighttime, unless there's a Marvel show or some Star Wars show that I'm watching, when her and I are on the couch, that app never opens.
Yeah.
And it's because, and like I said, unless it's like a Marvel show that we're watching right for the time being. But no, I remember going through Disney one point. I'm like seeing if there's movies. She's like, "What do you put Disney on? The kids are sleeping." You know? And then now it's like, well, look, now we can go through the Fox catalog, and I'm probably going to do that tonight. Right?
And that's why it's so. That's why I'm saying like
sense.
that unlock is a huge moment, as well as the Amazon acquisition here. I mean, who doesn't have Amazon Prime?
Yeah.
Right.
So this unlocks a lot of movies
and Amazon's
in the
making
same
moves.
way.
Amazon's making moves because Amazon not only making moves like this with a catalog of more movies, but look at the TV stuff. They got Lord of the Rings, which is a massive IP, and whatever you think about the trailer itself, right? It's still, people are still going to watch it. They made shit all over it. Who knows? But then you got what they're also doing that I think is brilliant. And if they start to be the ones that do this market, then they're going to crush even more so. They're doing God of War, right? And God of War is a TV show. Cut the fucking shit with the video games as movies. It ain't working. It ain't working. And what about Uncharted? They changed the mythology completely. They went into it.
Really?
They turned it into National Treasure, which worked for them. It made money for them.
Fun.
So on that side of it, it made money for them. But if you want, like, look at what HBO Max is doing for Last of Us.
Yeah,
smart. Turned into a TV show. There's so much there that if you took, and this is why, again, using a video game and Star Wars, if Star Wars, for God's sakes, if anybody was listening, Knights of the Old Republic.
Please.
That is 3 seasons worth or 4 seasons worth of a TV show.
You could essentially, what's wild about that, dude, you could almost make every one of the planets that you have to visit to like
a season.
You could make it a season.
Yeah.
Honestly.
There's so much, and even more, and the same thing.
Build the lore of what was the name of the thing that they were going after? The arc that
the Sith thing, right?
The giant thing that was making
the triangle.
Essentially what ended up being at the end of Rise of Skywalker and got bastardized like a motherfucker.
Right. But either way, so that's why all that stuff is. It's very important, and you got to keep your wits about you in order to. And I'll tell you, you know what else you need to keep your wits about? Don't be stupid and walking into a store, these gas stations. I know you all do it. I know you do it. You walk into those gas stations. And you say to yourself, "Oh, look at that! Look at those hard-on pills. Oh, those are safe." Wrong. They're not safe. Because you look around and you go, "Oh man, I'm gonna get them. I'm gonna try this out." Winston, don't lie to me. I know you've been in the gas station. You go, look
Kristian,
at that.
I avoid gas stations at all costs right now. What are you talking about?
Fair. I know that they're tempting, but when you're there, and take a look to see what's in those products. Seriously, they're terrible for you. And honestly, the same goes for most of the products on the market that claim to help dudes in the bedroom. Who the hell wants a 4-hour erection? No one wants that, especially at our age. There's nasty side effects. It's heart problems, and it's a possible trip to the hospital just to get rid of it. And try explaining it. Oh, you here for did you fall down? No, but if I keep walking over, I'm going to knock over that plant. JOYMODE is here to save the day. Whether you're happy or you're unhappy with your performance in the bedroom, just perform even better. And that's what JOYMODE does. It's a sexual performance booster, and it's like a pre-workout, but it's for sex. Wouldn't you rather take a supplement designed to spice things up rather than a prescription drug that can have harmful effects down the road? You go to great lengths to biohack your way to better mental and physical performance, but what about the bedroom? JOYMODE makes natural and science-backed sexual wellness products for men. Their sexual performance booster is like a pre-workout, but for sex. So it was created, obviously, because the products on the market are terrible, and they knew that they could do better. Prescriptions come with all sorts of side effects, and the over-the-counter gas station pills, they're sketchy and they're fraudulent, to be honest. But lots of guys take both because they don't have a better option. Well, now you do. And here's how you do it. You just tear open the sachet. You mix it with 6 to 8 ounces of water, just like your favorite electrolyte packet. And for best use, consume anywhere from 45 minutes to 4 hours prior to sexual activity. You're going to notice better blood flow, better erection quality and firmness, and increased sexual energy and drive. So if you want to spice things up in the bedroom and boost your sexual performance and do it natural without nasty prescription drugs, we have a special offer for the Big Thing audience. I mean, come on, the show's called The Big Thing, for God's sakes. Go to usejoymode.com/bigthing or enter Big Thing at checkout for 20% off of your first order. That is joymode.com/bigthing for 20% off your first order. Thank you, JOYMODE, and Winston's rhinoceros penis. Thanks, you too.
I wish I could trade that in for cheaper gas prices, bro. Fuck.
You can. You probably can.
Jesus.
Is gas expensive right now? I didn't notice. I had to give my kidney.
I thought ahead. I knew something was coming.
I'm just poor.
Oh, you think I paid that off? Do you think I paid that off? You think I'm not paying on that car? You think that's done?
Dude,
yeah.
I just, God.
It's the first thing I've bought 5 years new in my life. I've never bought in a car within 5 years.
How much was that thing up top?
I'm real good. I'm real good at
negotiating. I'm not going to tell you.
All right.
I'm not going to tell you.
I can tell you the sticker, and I can tell you I paid half it.
What's the sticker?
He stole the car.
I stole the car. I mean, let's not talk about Boston.
Yeah.
Sticker was, I think, 37.
Okay.
And but there's hella rebates because we live in California.
He did a great job negotiating. He paid 36 for it.
I did great. Look at the Irish. Happy St. Patrick's Day. But also but I got it like 5 years old, so I think sticker would have been like 22 or something. With rebates and stuff.
I've just been looking because I was looking before.
Is that your car outside, the one with no wheels on it?
Yeah. It's because I didn't know Kevin Smith Mallrats.
You didn't see that's where he gets these trapezius muscles. He actually doesn't drive the car. He puts it on his fucking shoulders and just kind of.
I bring all my stuff. It's a hybrid. It's the king.
All right, let's see before we get the hell out of here. Is there anything else that we need to talk about that was big in the news? I think we covered a lot of stuff. We covered a lot here today. So for people who don't know, we are going to do Mask of the Phantasm as a rewatch, but that's not going to be public. That's going to be for the Patreon only. So you got to go to patreon.com. It's /SEN Live, I believe. So the link's in the description also. But that's going to be next week. That's going to be me, Coy, and Winston. But we probably will be doing that one from StreamYard. But then next week the guys will be back, and we're probably going to do another show like this. This is fun as we kind of gear up towards more shows. We got Morbius coming out soon. We got Doctor Strange coming out soon. So, and we're trying to figure out. I guess that's the last thing we can talk about before we go. What do we want to do? What's our next rewatch? Should we ask the audience to us come up with some options? And what I can do is I can put a poll up in the beginning, maybe in the beginning of this episode. I'll be able to check it.
That's not a bad idea.
I think let the audience co-host. It's a fun idea.
All right, let's come up with four potential things that we could do for our next rewatch.
What's dropping soon?
Well, you got Doctor Strange, right?
So that's May, though, right?
That's May.
May 6th.
Yeah, April. I mean, look, if you do Jurassic Park, you'd have to start soon because Jurassic Park comes out in like June. Is that?
And then just throw in a spare Doctor Strange.
You throw in Doctor Strange 1, and then you throw in What If, and then Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Infinity War.
We
all remember that one.
I don't think you have to do Infinity War. I think the three that really tie in are I mean, you could probably watch WandaVision, honestly, but that's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot. Volume issue. That's a many hours.
To start doing that now.
God, both WandaVision and I guess WandaVision more so than Loki. I was like,
but Loki's gonna be affected.
But yeah. So movie wise, I would say, all right, so we would say we should probably start doing.
Start Jurassic Parkin'?
Yeah, I think so. Let's see. So Jurassic Park is one that we could throw out there, right? What's the other ones that we could think of?
When does Top Gun drop? Because we should at least just watch Top Gun.
Always, in general, just in life.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna go over the. Let's see.
While you're on that, I want to plug. As of now, when this airs, I've got on my page on my YouTube interviews with the cast of Morbius and the director, and that's like my first big interviews on my page.
Did you see the movie?
Maybe.
Oh, you can't say it. You can't talk about it. Okay, all right, fair. All right,
you can't even say if you've seen it.
I mean that, but like I can't follow up except for like.
You can't say anything else.
Of course,
that's fair. All right, let's see.
I just ran into Jared Leto. I was like, let's talk about YouTube.
Let's just talk about it. He's got that show coming out, by the way, with Anne Hathaway. Yes.
We crashed.
So we crashed about WeWork. I will tell you this. He doesn't take roles anymore where he doesn't have prosthetics. If you know that, he hasn't done a non-prosthetic. When was the last time you've seen him really? Was for I guess in Morbius for like 2 seconds, but he's still got something going on.
Because he doesn't age.
Yeah, right. But anyway,
Dude looks younger
that
than me.
show though, I'll tell you though, when that came out, when that trailer came out, I didn't even know it was him.
Oh, that's cool.
I didn't even know it was him. I had no
Have you seen
idea.
the documentary?
No.
It's fascinating.
Yeah.
I would probably recommend it before the movie, but also if you
Okay.
want to have fun in the movie and surprise yourself, it'd be a great double feature, but the documentary is solid.
Did WeWork? I'm just curious. Did WeWork crash just because of the pandemic? Or
No,
something
no, no.
happened
The
before?
CEO is a very intensely crazy individual.
Yes.
It's like the Fire Festival company.
Yeah,
It's
Wow.
fascinating,
So
dude.
what's funny about that is that the way that I was familiar with WeWork is because that when we did, and this is way before your guys' time, but we did Toad Hop, which is on that wall over there with the whole cast and crew over there. Toad Hop was
Another
where-
life
Yeah,
Kristian
it was.
had.
It's true, but Toad,
Every wall.
well, Toad Hop was like the first. It was like kind of like the golden age of the Schmoes No Show. It was like the best, my opinion, the best version of it, right? And it was at the WeWork Studios.
Oh, no way.
WeWork
where it
had
was.
studios?
Yeah, that's what the whole thing was.
I thought WeWork was just that shared office space shit.
That's what it is.
Ye-
It was the office space, but the studio was inside the office space.
Oh, they
Was that the
built
one-
a studio. I thought for a second you were saying
They built it?
WeWork
No.
had a
No.
shared studio
No,
space.
no.
Like Buzz-
It was
like Buzz-
It was
yeah.
just a room that the production company
Got it.
that we
Was that
yeah.
the Pacific Design Center? Like that?
No,
WeWork?
that was at the one in on Hollywood Boulevard near the Buffalo Wild Wings. That's
Oh,
still
yeah,
there,
they still got that sign up, but I'm always like, that's like a sad
Yeah.
memoriam.
Yeah,
Like when you
that's
see a
what-
WeWork
that's-
sign now,
that's
it's
what
like,
it was,
oh.
yeah.
Are they all gone?
So speaking of which, you got Morbius, which is April 1st.
Okay.
Right. So I don't know if there's anything there that we could.
It would be the Venoms.
I guess, and Corey can't say anything. So April 8th, Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
I'm excited about that, actually.
Dude, I love the first
The
one.
trailer
So-
looks great, and I love the first
We
one.
could do. I didn't see the first one. I have to see that. Maybe that's
That'd be
one.
fun.
Sonic. I mean, we
It's
could
fun,
do a
man.
rewatch. I mean, look, we could do a few single rewatches leading up to it. But if we do Sonic the Hedgehog, it could be a rewatch, right? We could do the two Fantastic Beasts, which should be kind of a.
We could.
But we also want to make sure that people will actually
never
watch the episode.
I've never seen
Yeah, I was
the
gonna say, we
Fantastic
certainly
Beasts.
could.
Of
Yeah,
course,
because
of
Doctor
course.
Strange then would be the first one. But Doctor Strange, if you wanted to start watching, if we had to watch 3 movies, we would be Doctor Strange, the first one. What If we'd have to rewatch, like those 2 episodes, right? And then we'd have to watch Spider-Man. So that's 3 weeks. So we'd have to start it like in
Now available on digital,
mid-April.
Spider-Man.
It is May 13th. Nah, Firestarter. Nah, Top Gun. Top Gun's May 27th. So we could do Top Gun like the second week in May, and then Jurassic World. So how many Jurassic Park movies are there?
There's the 3 OGs and then the 2.
So there's 5. So you'd have to start that in April sometime. So it's really up to the audience. So should we do which ones do you want to see us do? I just put it in the
Sonic,
comments section.
Doctor Strange.
Yeah, and if you have other ideas that you want to see us do, also let me know.
We should watch The Fighter Before Father Stew, frankly.
Which one?
That's The Fighter Before Father Stew. Marky
Fighter.
Mark's other fighting movie. Have you seen the Father Stew trailer?
No, what is that?
He
Is
plays
that
like a priest that gets into boxing.
Boxing?
Yeah.
What?
I'm not even kidding. and it's
but-
also him
oh,
and
no,
Mel
I
Gibson,
kn-
dude.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great. But that's great.
These hands are for Jesus.
Yeah. Well, look.
I will
Was it true-
power
is it-
through contrition.
Is it a true story?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. But
Beat the Jesus into you.
That's the type of stuff that he's great at.
No, he's so good.
Beat the devil out of you.
I mean, it depends which way you're going. Mel Gibson's in it. That's the question.
All right, listen. It was a fun show. I had a blast. I'm sure you guys had a blast too. Make sure that you follow Coy and Winston. Subscribe to Coy's YouTube channel. Check out Winston on Blurs in the Hood. And follow us on the twits and all that stuff too. And don't forget, as I mentioned to you guys earlier today, no, that one too, but the Titans. It's going to be going down in just a little bit. If you've never seen it, please go and check it out. Sam Levine returning after 4 years against the Barbarian, and Barbarian is no joke. So this is a #1 contender match. The winner will face Marisol McKee, the reigning Movie Trivia Schmoedown champion of the world, on the 25th in our second pay-per-view ever. And we really want you guys, we're very proud of what we're doing this year. There's some incredible stuff. I showed Winston and Coy a scene earlier today that they were both moved on. That's all I can
TV
say.
show.
It's a TV show. Yeah.
It really has become that at this point, y'all.
Yeah.
If you're not watching, I don't know what F's wrong with your life.
Yeah.
And if you guys want some behind the scenes information, I'm the worst in rehearsals until we film.
It's true.
I saw
true.
Kristian panic, and I was like, I know this sucks. And then the cameras, I was like, I found
because
me.
I think that Coy's so used to the way that it used to be run. I was like, Coy, did you read the script yet? And he's like, nah. I'm like, what? Like, what am I?
And then I had to memorize 4 pages
I know.
on the
I'm like,
fly.
why am I writing this? And I'm like,
I I was shocked that there were scripts now, to be honest with you.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But it was 4 pages. It was like, you don't usually run 4 full pages on any given day with oneers. Like, usually that's multiple takes. There's cuts. So I had to memorize 4 pages for a oneer.
Welcome to wrestling. Welcome to wrestling.
And I don't know it.
I know.
So now
I know.
it got good.
And it was, but unlike wrestling, I'm very free on letting the performers kind of riff a little bit too. Like if they, as I said to you, just hit the basics.
Were you there for the filming of that moment, me and Flaus?
They loved it. Fans
okay,
loved
it was so much fun, but it was like 4 pages with Flaus. Okay, let me just look at this real quick, and then like it was chaos, but it turned out like I'm proud of that.
When he slapped you in the face with that glove, holy shit! Have you not seen the scene yet?
No.
Oh, I got to show you before you leave.
Oh, dude, I'm excited just from the standpoint of y'all will see in my first match. Kristian had to pull me aside in the first match that Swag had this thing. He's like, I'm gonna need you to tone it down just a little bit. Like I can't say specifically what Kristian told me because it'll ruin things. But Kristian was like, I know you're excited.
It wasn't a tone down as much. It was a reaction to something that happened, and I'm like, you're showing your cards. You're showing your cards.
I need you to chill, bro.
Yeah. But
it's a fun season.
Yeah, and what I will say is this: I watched a lot of the after shows too. And I actually love the fact now that when you watch the shows, like they're critiquing the shows as episodes and everything too. But there's one show that I really like a lot. They were like, well, this show it certainly wasn't as good as the first one, and the scenes that they have didn't tie into everything else. I'm like, it's a full season. I'm like, one episode. Well, we wanted that story to tell the same story because the first episode is like the arc of Ethan, right? It's not going to be like that every episode. I'm setting up little stories throughout the entire season that are going to pay off down the line. But to be fair to them it was like a tradition. It's traditional. This guy's a wrestling fan too, the one guy who was talking about it. But I'm like, you better get used to it because that's what's going to happen throughout. There's going to be little ones that kind of piece in together that pay off on other episodes.
You think I'm going to let Flaus get away and slap me in the face?
Exactly.
You think that's a oneer? You think that's done?
Well, that was what I was saying. Like, that was the episode we were talking about. It was like, well, nothing happened in the whole thing. I'm like, Flaus challenges them on the spot, and then they have a match right there, immediately, and it plays into this whole beef,
which has never been done in the show before. We've never been like, let's go.
Not in with that scene. Let's play right here, right now. Yeah. So that's the stuff of the audience getting used to it too. So
and I don't forget.
But I love it, and I'm talking about the Galaxy Geeks, by the way, who do the show. They could be the nicest humans on the planet, and that's hard to say on the internet because there are not a lot of nice humans on the internet. And I'm like, just hearing them talk. It's like they do this segment. They do the good, they do the bad, and they do the geeky, right? But when they talk about the bad stuff, it's just like really, it's like it's fair criticisms. And like, the story criticism was there. I don't agree with that particular one, but I respected the way that they presented their case. But I love how people are really geeking out and getting into it. So check it out. If you haven't checked out Friday Night Titans, one more time, please go and check out Friday Night Titans, especially today. If you haven't seen the Schmoedown ever, or if you haven't watched in a little bit, today's the show you should watch. So please go and check that out. Thank you to Winston and thank you to Korjandro, Mr. Yanru. Thank you guys very much. We appreciate you, and we'll see you next time. Is always talking over the outro. He does it every time. He talks over the outro. He talks over